Everybody, do this before the end of today. And just realized it's about 5 to midnight. I was taking a break from doing some editing. Did some work while watching the Washington and Vegas game. I gotta say, I've been cheering for Vegas most of the playoffs, but I feel pretty good too if Ovi wins, because I think he's very deserving of a cup. Anyways, just wanted to thank everyone for liking the new page here, the new HeyLangford page. It's been a lot of new ads on my other Facebook page over the last years. Fans of Dead Set and fans of some of the DearBands stuff I've been doing. So I thought it'd be good to separate some of the personal stuff and some of the more business stuff. So with the new HeyLangford page, I want to focus on a lot of the music, the recording, engineering, producing, management, thoughts, ideas of the music industry. Obviously, some of the DearBands stuff too. There's a lot of questions bands and artists seem to have about things, and while I'm happy to answer them on the street and at conferences and in coffee shops and at shows where they can barely hear me, I'd like to answer more of them on here and document them. Because sometimes, I feel like it's good to have it a little bit better documented so I can stand behind what I say and some of the ideas and thoughts I have with the future of the music industry. So, maybe we can look back on it in a couple of years and go, you know what, he was onto something, or you know what, he was really wrong about that. So either way, I think it'd be pretty good for everybody. One of the things I wanted to do here, getting back to it, is answering questions. And one of the questions I get all the time, refer to it as the Howdozi, which is, how do I book a tour? How do I release a record? How do I deal with band members? How do I write songs? How do I record? The list goes on and on. There's so many things that bands and artists ask about how to do things, and my semi-passive aggressive way of dealing with it is to simply type their question into Google, hit enter, and send back the link to it. So what are those things? How do I do all of these things? Well, before you ask anybody in this line of work, is Google it. Google the damn question. Because it's one thing to get people's experience and get their thoughts and whatnot on it, but first page of Google will give you so many of what, or so much of what someone's actually going to tell you. So do a bit of work yourself before you're just going in blind, just asking them their thoughts on it, but digging a bit deeper. I find people are actually just wondering if there's a trick or a shortcut or something. And while good experienced advice will help you avoid some pitfalls, no matter how much advice they give you, they will not, or I will say, no matter how much advice they give you, it will not take the place of the amount of hard work getting to that answer is actually going to take. And I find that's one of the biggest problems a lot of artists and bands have, is they're not really willing to do the work. They're not willing to sit through 99 rejections to get to the one space they're trying to get to. And it's discouraging on both ends, because I've been making records for over 10 years now, and the amount of times bands ask me how do they do something, and I help them lay out a bit of a plan, and a year later they're in the same spot. And they'll point the finger at a bunch of things, but when it really gets down to it, it's like, you didn't do the work. You tried one door with one key and it didn't work. Well, there's that whole concept of the overnight success. There's a lot of dirt you're gonna have to shovel in order to get there sometimes. So the idea when you meet people that are successful and you really start to dig around their path to success, and that usually there's a bit of a smile and their eyes will light up, because they'll start talking about all the bad times, all the things that they had to go through, the rejections, the crappy tours, the shady managers, the crooked studio owners, the botched merch pressings, the list goes on and on, really. So when it gets down to it, the key to the Howdozi, you just have to start, and you have to work like no one's going to help you. I'm a big believer, those who want to do the work, who want to come along for the journey, they'll join in, because they'll see a good cause, they'll see that you're heading in the right direction, and they'll want to get involved. And then I'm also very very aware of the people that just want to come along for the ride. And I see there's good and bad in that, but for the most part, it's, especially in this line of work and in music and in bands, you meet up with a lot of people, and the older you get, you start meeting people that want to do the work too. And you don't have time for people that don't want to do the work. So that's kind of the long and short, rambly, ranty answer to a question I get all the time. How do I? Google it. Start there. Do the work. Work like no one's going to help you. Yeah, again, this is the new Hey Langford page. Again, I'm going to be answering questions, talking about recording, tour. One of the things, too, is I want to bring the tour blog over here and then filter that kind of into the website. But it was getting really difficult with the dead set touring and tour managing and taking care of stuff to try to stay on top of all that. So I find it's actually easier to write it right into Facebook, or at least post it into Facebook and then have it go to the socials that way. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of Dead Set, for those who are interested, it's working on the new record. And hopefully I will single out in the fall, and we're pitched for a few tours for the fall and early next year, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to getting the blogs going again. Again, there's so much stuff that could not be said on the road last year. So we'll see when enough time has passed if I can start posting some of those things. Is again, there's some amazing stories in there where people really want to know what it's like on the road. So I think I'm over 200 likes on here. Again, I've got a bit of ways to catch up on my other page, but again, I wanted to kind of cut that off while I could to especially bring more of the bands and artists over here. Because Facebook cuts you off at 5,000, and while I'm not there yet, I can see approaching that the next year or two. So I'll try to stay ahead of the curve. Thanks again, everyone, liking the new page. I hope everyone had a great weekend, and if you're a Capitals fan, it's looking good. If you're a Golden Knights fan, hopefully the next two games go your way, because I'd love to see it go 7. Alright, thanks again, everybody. Talk to you later.